Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So just like everybody else, yesterday evening I saw the injury report for the Indiana Fever game today against the new expansion team, the Portland Fire. And I'm excited. Everybody's healthy, it's an expansion team, and this should probably be an easy win for the Fever. And on top of that, we're getting another chance to watch Caitlin Clark continue the absolute tear she's been on lately. So I've got this game circled on the calendar. Everybody else probably does too. Fans are excited, content creators are excited, people are setting aside time to watch the game. And a lot of that excitement is because Caitlin Clark has become must-watch television. But then suddenly, about an hour and a half before the game, everything changes. An updated injury report comes out saying that Caitlin Clark is ruled out with a back injury. And immediately I'm sitting there confused because this wasn't something anybody was expecting. There was no indication earlier in the day that she wasn't going to play. Most people who bought tickets were probably already on the way to the arena. Some people were probably already parked outside. Live streams were already scheduled, thumbnails were already made, and if you're a creator covering the WNBA right now, chances are Caitlin Clark was somewhere in your title or thumbnail because she is the biggest draw in the league. That's just reality. So now people are trying to figure out what happened. And honestly, the timing of this whole thing is what's making everybody suspicious. Now, first off, shout out to Clark Report because they pointed out something important. According to WNBA injury reporting policies, teams are supposed to disclose injuries, illnesses, medical conditions, or even rest statuses by 5 p.m. local time the day before the game. Not an hour and 40 minutes before tip-off, not while fans are literally walking into the building, the day before the game. So immediately people are asking questions. Why was this not reported earlier? Why was Caitlin Clark completely absent from the injury report until the very last minute? And then you have Scott Agnes reporting what Stephanie White said before the game. Stephanie White explained that Caitlin Clark woke up in the morning with stiffness and soreness in her back. Okay, fine. That part makes sense. Athletes wake up sore all the time. Basketball is physical. Travel is exhausting. Things happen. But then Stephanie White also says she didn't learn about it until around 5 p.m. Eastern, just a couple of hours before the game. And that's where people start getting confused. Because hold on a second. Caitlin Clark knew about the stiffness in the morning. Apparently she woke up feeling it. So are we really supposed to believe nobody in the organization knew until right before the game? The head coach didn't know? The medical staff didn't know? Nobody communicated anything? That's the part that feels strange, because if your superstar player wakes up with back stiffness, especially a player who fans have already noticed repeatedly going back to the locker room during games to get treatment on her back, wouldn't you immediately monitor the situation? Wouldn't you at least list her as questionable? That's all people are saying. Nobody is arguing that Caitlin Clark should have been forced to play injured. If she's hurt, you sit her down. Protect the player, especially your franchise player. That part is easy, but the communication surrounding the situation just feels messy. Because think about it logically. If Caitlin Clark tells the coaching staff at 8 in the morning, hey, my back is stiff and sore, the first question you're asking is, okay, how serious is it? Do you think you can play tonight? Do we need to monitor this? And if the answer is anything other than, I'm 100% perfectly fine, then you probably update the injury report immediately. You list her as questionable, you tell the public there's uncertainty. Instead, everybody spends the whole day assuming she's playing. And let's be honest here. Caitlin Clark is not just another player in the WNBA. She's the face of the league right now. She's driving television ratings, ticket sales, merchandise sales, social media engagement, all of it. Whether people want to admit it or not, she's the engine behind the current explosion of attention around the WNBA. That's why fans get upset when communication feels dishonest, because people spend real money to go see Caitlin Clark play. Families buy tickets specifically to watch her. Fans travel. Content creators build schedules around these games. Networks market these matchups heavily around her presence. So when the announcement comes out barely over an hour before tip-off, people naturally start wondering whether the organization intentionally waited until the last possible second. Now, I'm not saying that definitely what happened. I want to make that very clear. There are possible explanations here. Maybe Caitlin Clark genuinely believed she could play earlier in the day, and then the pain got worse as the day went on. Maybe the medical staff evaluated her later and decided it wasn't worth the risk. Maybe the Fever were just being extra cautious with their franchise player. All of that is possible, but then you still run into the issue of Stephanie White saying she didn't even know until shortly before everybody else. And that's the confusing part, because if Stephanie White didn't know, then who did? Was nobody communicating internally? Was Caitlin Clark trying to play through it quietly? Was the medical staff evaluating her without the head coach knowing? The timeline just doesn't sound very clean. And fans notice that stuff because this isn't the first time people have questioned how the Fever handle injuries. Last season, there were multiple situations where players were labeled day-to-day for what felt like weeks at a time. Fans already felt like injury communication from the organization was inconsistent. So now, when something like this happens again, people are naturally skeptical. And honestly, the optics are terrible. You wait until the arena is already filling up, fans are already arriving, live streams are already scheduled, everyone is locked in expecting Caitlin Clark to play, and then suddenly she's ruled out. Of course people are going to question it, especially because Caitlin Clark is the reason a huge percentage of casual viewers are tuning into the WNBA right now. That's not disrespect towards other players. There are plenty of talented players in this league. Aaliyah Boston is talented, Kelsey Mitchell is talented, Lexi Hall is talented, Sophie Cunningham is talented. But Caitlin Clark is the draw. She's the attraction bringing millions of viewers to games that otherwise wouldn't be getting anywhere near that level of attention. The ratings prove it, the ticket demand proves it, the merchandise sales prove it, the social media numbers prove it. So when the biggest attraction in the league is suddenly ruled out at the last possible moment, fans feel blindsided. And maybe this entire thing really is innocent. Maybe Caitlin Clark woke up sore, tried to push through it, and eventually the organization decided to play it safe. That absolutely could be the truth. But the communication around it was still bad. At minimum, fans deserve transparency earlier in the day. If there was uncertainty about her status, then list her as questionable. That's literally why the questionable designation exists. Instead, it feels like everybody got hit with this information all at once. And maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe the situation is simpler than it seems. But when you look at the timeline, when you look at the reporting requirements, when you look at how late the announcement came out, and when you listen to Stephanie White's explanation, it's understandable why people feel like something about this situation just doesn't fully add up. So now all eyes are going to be on the Indiana Fever moving forward. Fans are going to want updates on Caitlin Clark's back. They're going to want more transparency. And honestly, they're going to want consistency from this front office, because right now, a lot of people are confused. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the Indiana Fever handled this situation properly? Or do you think the timing of this injury report feels a little suspicious? But I'm just reading the information that I have online. Alexa Filippo on Twitter says that given Stephanie White said Caitlin Clark did not practice yesterday and there was no indication Clark was dealing with an ailment until she was ruled out 100 minutes before tip-off tonight, she would imagine this is something the league may take a look at. And I'm with her. This is something that I think the league should take a look at. And also, why didn't Caitlin Clark practice yesterday? I'm not that deep into the Indiana Fever rabbit hole to know what's going on in practices and the different reasons why players might not practice on certain days. I'd love to be, but I'm not, Scott. I'm not Alexa. I'm not these people on Twitter. Okay, so I have no idea why she did not practice yesterday, but that really doesn't line up or make sense to me. Why wouldn't Caitlin Clark practice before the game? Maybe this is something she regularly doesn't do. Y'all let me know. I'm sure somebody knows more than me. But under the circumstances, and again, I'm just speculating here, if it were the case that Caitlin Clark did not practice yesterday because she was dealing with some kind of injury or back issue, then when they put that report out saying there were no injuries yesterday, that's just straight up fraud. They'd be doing this to keep people in the seats. They'd be doing this so people aren't selling their tickets and so fans actually show up to the game. And that's bogus. That's fraud. But I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to assume the best case scenario. I'm just going to assume that Caitlin Clark didn't practice yesterday for normal reasons. Maybe she just wasn't supposed to practice. Maybe she doesn't practice with the team all the time. I don't know. It still doesn't make much sense, but we'll assume that for now until more information comes out and this whole injury situation turns out to be something that only happened this morning. But even if it was something they learned about this morning, I still feel like the front office should have reported it right then and there. But I'm assuming the front office didn't know about it until 5 Eastern time because that's what Stephanie White had to say, and Scott Agnes put it in his article. So I'm going to assume that's what she actually said. So all in all, I'm highly confused. Look, all I know is this. Caitlin Clark is the main reason so many people are watching and talking about the WNBA right now. Not just the Indiana Fever, but the entire league. Whether people want to admit it or not, Caitlin Clark is driving the attention, the ratings, the conversations, and a massive amount of the money coming into this league right now. I did a video the other day that got over 100,000 views, and the entire thing was about Caitlin Clark. That's not an accident. Every time Caitlin Clark plays, the numbers explode. The ratings go up, the clips go viral, and everybody suddenly wants to talk about the WNBA. And let's just be honest for a second. These WNBA games pulling in millions of viewers because of Caitlin Clark probably aren't even cracking 500,000 viewers if she's not playing. Honestly, some of them probably aren't even hitting 300,000. That's not disrespect toward other players. There are talented players all over this league. Raven Johnson is talented. Lexi Hull is talented. Sophie Cunningham, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell are all talented players, but the vast majority of casual fans are tuning in to watch Caitlin Clark. That's just the truth. She's the attraction. She's the player bringing millions of new eyes to the league. And because of that, people are naturally suspicious when something like this injury situation happens. Because let's be real, the WNBA knows exactly how important Caitlin Clark is financially. They have the analytics, they see the ticket sales, they see the jersey sales, they see the television ratings. They know what the numbers look like with Caitlin Clark playing versus without her playing. This is a business at the end of the day. So when the Indiana Fever wait until an hour and 40 minutes before the game to announce that Caitlin Clark isn't playing, people are going to question it. Fans are going to wonder why the announcement came so late. Because by that point, people are already on the way to the arena. Families already bought tickets. People already made plans around the game. Content creators already scheduled live streams. People already ordered food and planned watch parties. At that point, most fans are still going to show up no matter what because they've already committed to the night. And that's why some people think the timing feels shady. Now, I want to be fair here. I'm not outright saying the Indiana Fever did anything wrong on purpose. There's always the possibility that Caitlin Clark woke up sore, thought she might be okay, and then later in the day the pain got worse. That absolutely happens in sports. And if that's the case, then yes, you absolutely sit Caitlin Clark down out of an abundance of caution. You protect your superstar player. Nobody is arguing against that. But what's confusing is the timeline. According to Stephanie White, she didn't even learn about the injury situation until around 5 p.m. Eastern time. And that's the part that people are struggling to understand. Because if Caitlin Clark woke up with stiffness and soreness in the morning, are we really supposed to believe nobody inside the organization knew until just before the game? That doesn't completely add up to a lot of fans. And then you combine that with the fact that last year, the Indiana Fever constantly labeled players as day-to-day for weeks at a time, and fans already felt like the injury communication from this organization was questionable. So now people are looking at this whole situation with skepticism. Again, maybe it's completely innocent, maybe this entire thing was handled properly behind the scenes, but from the outside looking in, the timing just feels weird. And when you're dealing with the biggest star in women's basketball, people are going to analyze every little detail. So, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe fans are overreacting. Or maybe people just want transparency when it comes to the biggest player in the league. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the Indiana Fever handled the situation correctly? Or do you think the timing of the injury announcement feels suspicious? And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video.